Hi, this is Parag with iRepairMD. Today, what we have here is a DJI Phantom 3 4K Pro gimbal that broke. And what I'm going to show you guys how to do today is to actually replace the Phantom 3 DJI Flex gimbal with a new one. And I have this one right over here. Okay, and so the first thing you'll need would be a Phillips screwdriver, okay, and you'll also need a Torx screw. All right, this is the 5T screw, and first thing we're going to do now is to go ahead and from the top here, take the screwdriver, take the Phillips off. Okay, the flex cable has ripped from the bottom. This is a double layer flex cable, so you definitely need every connection to actually get it to work. Alright, so what we're doing is taking out the Phillips, putting it in a safe place. Let's go ahead and take this out. All right. Got the Phillips here. Go ahead and eject the card. Now we're going to go ahead and separate it from the base. It's going to be a tape right here, double-sided adhesive holding the flex on. All right. What you need is a tweezer. Just a flat tweezer here. All right. Okay, now you have the bearings. Let's go ahead and we're just gonna go ahead and just disconnect this off. Okay. It's a lot easier just to work it from the base. Alright, so let's go ahead and take the YAR arm motor cover off. Okay. Okay. Alright, so now what we want to do is flip this over, and you want to just go ahead and unhook this. This repair will also work for the Advanced as well as the Pro. Okay, so let's go ahead and detach this also while we're at it. Detach the bottom, the motor controller. Okay, so now we're left with the logic board and the connector. Let's go ahead, carefully lift. You want to lift this with your fingernail or pry tool, so it lifts upward just like this. Okay, lift upward. Now you go ahead and pull the connector off. Let's go ahead and visually inspect to make sure that the board's in good condition. It looks like I don't see any burn mark or any dislodging of these semiconductors, so looks like we're in good condition. Now with the new flex, having the line here face upward, we can go ahead and connect it in. So the connector, all right, and now we insert the other connector. The Phantom 2 has only one connector. The Phantom 3, however, has two because of the high resolution camera and the more advanced shooting feature that comes with this camera. So we need more connectors. You want to make sure all these connectors are aligned. See the white? Just insert it and everything is parallel. Go ahead and lock it down by pressing it. Okay. Now let's go ahead and expose the tape here. Double-sided tape. What we have here. Okay. Let's fold this up a little teeny bit. Now we're going to run the tape, the exposed tape. Grab here, along this. Fold right here. All right. All right. So this is nice and folded in. Let's go ahead and connect the connector back on, the yaw control motor. First thing we do is connect the motor connector in. As you can see, set it downward. Okay, make sure everything is all matching. Right. Go ahead and make sure it's well seated in. And now, once it's seated in, lock it down. All right, now let's go ahead and do the flex cable connection to it, and that's this right here, side connection. So we can go ahead and insert it in, make sure it's nice and seated. Okay, connect it in. All right, so what we want to do, since it's separated from the main unit, we're going to just insert this in for now. See right here, align it with the board, and see the crescent shaft, the crescent machine side of the shaft. We want it to match like so, so it inserts in. And we're not going to put all the screw back on because we're going to have to come back here to readjust after we finish most of it. So I'm going to go ahead and put one screw in the middle, like so. Okay. And that will lock it in place. Okay. So now we're left with this connector here. Say it's separated, and this is pretty crucial for those who actually, if you don't have this facing the right way, this is magnetic lock. If you actually put it on this way, there's no way you can get it to stabilize. And one rule of thumb is, if you hold it up, like facing up, this is up, the drone is looking down, you can see DJI logos is upside down. If you realize you got that, then you know it's in the wrong direction. So what you want to do is go ahead and correct it. So this is the right direction. Right here, as you can see, up and DJI logo and the f-stop is showing the right direction. So now the magnetic's in place. So what we want to do now is get rid of these. All right, what we're working on is the camera. So with the torque screwdriver, we can go ahead and expose the camera. There's four holding it down. Okay. Alright, so be very careful around the new flex. You don't want to damage it or rip it. Let's go ahead and lift this up. Okay, so now you want to free the flex from the camera logic board. So let's go ahead and flip this up. There will be tape holding this down. Okay, be very careful when you pull this out. You don't want to damage anything. So the best way to do it is to slowly pull it out inward. Do not pull it at an angle upward. You just want to slide it out laterally like this, like the way we have here. Okay. Alright, so that's taken out. Now there's two screws. There's one here and one on this side. Let's go ahead and take those screws out, and that is the flex cable shield. Protects the pivoting camera, the exposed flex cable from a rip. Okay. So if you just get it up enough, go ahead and pull the flex cable out. And just to save time, I'm just going to leave the screw on like this, put it in a safe place. Okay, so now what we want to do is to go ahead and free the ribbon cable from the camera, like that. Okay, now there is a screw that's keeping the camera on its pivoting shaft. So let's go ahead and take the Phillips screw out. Okay. And now you can slide the camera. Now the up and down tilt camera controllers right here. So what you want to do is go ahead and unscrew those. Alright, let's go ahead and unscrew those also. Okay, so now you expose. Now what you have is this board right here controlling this. So what we want to do is we can go ahead and remove the flex by using a pry tool or your fingernail. Okay. Now what we want to do is install that to the main body of the flex. As you can see, this is the position here. We want to go ahead and peel this off. Peel the tape off. It's double-sided adhesive. Alright, so now go ahead and align that. Make sure you put it enough so it doesn't rub against any key component, so it rips during a flight. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the camera back into its shaft right here, crescent shape into the shaft. Actually, just go ahead and pull it out for now. Let's go ahead and insert the flex, the camera tilt flex that controls the motor. Okay, put it back into place, and now we can go ahead and insert it this way. Okay. Go ahead and put the screwdriver in. In this case, you can put all three in back into here. All right. One. Two. And three. It's a bigger screw. Put small screws here. All right. Go ahead and screw it in place. Okay. So let's go ahead and put the shaft back on. This is another important aspect. So the camera, as you can see, there's a crescent shape, half a circle here, and what you want is the half circle, the curved end, and not the smooth side or the flat side, to be facing you, and the camera looking outward to be facing, this little half circle is facing outward. So go ahead and insert that, like so, and now let's go ahead and put the screw that holds this camera in place. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap this around. I'm going to expose this adhesive side. Wrap the camera around about 2 times. Okay, now that you have that wrapped, what you want to do is carefully negotiate this, make sure it wraps completely and snug nicely. We get this shaft right here. Okay, so now using the flat tool, tweezer, go ahead and put this back into place carefully. You want to make sure everything's aligned. Alright, so now we're going to snug everything back into place, and as you can see, everything here is well snug in. Right now, go ahead and lock it down. Okay, so what we want to do now is go ahead and seal the camera. We're going to put all 4 screws in it. One, 2, 3, 4th shaft right here. Okay. Go ahead and check the movement of this camera. Make sure everything is nice, tucked away, like we have here. Okay, now camera is freely moving. What we want to do is go ahead and put the shield back on. Set the shield in. The screws is already in place. So all we really have to do is lock the screw in. Okay. So we have that like so. All right. Everything is great on here. So what we want to do now is go ahead and put the plate back on. All right. So we're going to put the bearing back into place like this. Go ahead and peel the double-sided tape off. All right, now go ahead and carefully insert this. Make sure you don't clip the flex cable. Align it in. Okay, like so. All right, now go ahead and put the plastic shield plate and then replace the screws in this, all four corners. And then we're going to test it on the drone. So let's go ahead and fix the tilting problem. It came from because it ejected. As you can see, it have a tendency to tilt a certain way because the crescent. What we want is the crescent to be level. As you can see, the camera is tilting this way. So what we need to do is actually adjust it. But this is not a permanent fix, so what we need to do is actually use epoxy. And I got this epoxy right here. This is Loctite metal and concrete epoxy, medium gray. Works really well. It's made for metal or concrete. In this case, we're trying to bond metal together. Okay, only need a teeny bit. This is actually too much already. We're going to mix it up like so. Okay, get the epoxy to mix, and you can actually feel a little heat from it activating. Mix well. What we're going to do now is actually pull this connector off right here. This is where it ejects out, and what we want to do is put epoxy right into this well right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and put a little amount of epoxy here, just on the edge. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put it back into place, just like that. Have it nice and seated. Okay, now for the alignment part. We want this crescent shape right here. To be lateral. So at this point, it's gonna tilt. So what we want is to actually fix this tilt. Get underneath. While the epoxy is still workable, we can go ahead and adjust it. All right. Now you can see it's going to this side. We can go ahead and hold. The best way to do this is just to hold it down while you adjust it. Okay. So what I need to do is adjust this just enough. Okay, so now as you can see, it's lateral. It's parallel with the top. So we're going to let the epoxy sit for about 30 minutes, and that should cure. They should harden enough so we can actually test it. Okay, Go ahead and put the screw back in. Okay. As you can see, everything is all level, and the camera and the gimbal respond perfectly. This is Prac with iRepairMD. Safe repair and safe flying.